Welcome, everybody, to the third session of Q&As, the questions and answers. Anyway, we're very glad to be here. We're glad you're here. We really welcome the questions. It's such a pleasure for us to be with you. So shall I just start?
Yeah, go ahead
Okay.
and begin.
So I've got several questions here that I'm just going to read and answer.
So there were more than 150 questions that you've already sent in. So we're going to start with those, and not all 150 of them, but we'll start with a few of them, and then we'll have a mix of questions that have been that are being called in with questions that were already asked previously.
Yes.
Okay, so here's the
All
first
right,
one.
Here we go. This is from, I believe, Tabia. Every organ is governed by a meridian, and if there is an imbalance in a particular organ, then there can be problem in this organ. But what about a problem in the blood and brain? Maybe those are affected by more than just one meridian? Oh, a really good question. You know, the brain, yes, you have several meridians going through your head, but you also have neurovasculars. The neurovasculars in the front are right here, but then you have them all over your head. And those govern different meridians in the body. So holding the different neurovasculars on the head will affect the flow of energy in your whole body. And as for blood, it's usually spleen meridian. Spleen meridian governs the blood. Oh, and of course the heart, because it pumps it. Okay, actually everything does a little bit, but mostly spleen and heart. Okay, all right, onward. From Louise. How does a time change, like our recent daylight savings time change, affect the meridian flow wheel times? For example, one day spleen is 9 to 11 in the morning, and then the clock moves forward an hour. How do we adjust? Well, that's also a good question. We do adjust, but it takes, it actually scientifically, they have proven that it takes the body at least 2 or 3 days to adapt and adjust to a time change. In fact, when daylight savings time comes, in those 2 or 3 days, there are more accidents. There are actually more suicides because people are thrown off their rhythm. But how do you adjust? I mean, you can do the daily energy routine. You can make sure you get out of homolateral by crossing your energies over. And you can trace your meridians from the time of day, from the new adjusted time.
Yeah, it's a very good question. For some people are more sensitive, some people are less sensitive to these kinds of changes in the environment. But obviously, you know, daylight savings time, I believe Ben Franklin invented it, is artificial. So your meridians don't get the memo that the clock is jumping an hour, and it does. But your body also is, don't forget, attuned to all the energies in the environment, so that when that change happens, it does adjust to the energies. But it does, as Donna said, take a few days for that to happen, just as it takes a few days for people to get out of jet lag if they don't know how to use energy medicine to get out of it instantly.
But since you know how to do energy medicine, you do not have to wait 2 or 3 days to have your body get adjusted to the time change.
Basically, what you do is you trace your meridians, and you trace them from the time of where you landed. So if it's between 9 and 11, which is when spleen meridian is at its strongest, you would start with central and governing always, the up and the back, and then you would go to start with the spleen meridian and go around the wheel until you get to spleen, do it again, and then do central and governing again. So that's basically will shift the body's energies very quickly so that you're now adjusted to the time zone that you're in.
And if it just happens to be daylight savings time, just trace your meridians that day at the beginning of the hour. Like as soon as that hour, since it's moved forward or moved back, start at the beginning of the hour and trace from there. Okay. All right, from Karina. How subjective or objective seeing energy is? If 10 people are looking at the aura of the same person, how similar are their observations? All right. Well, first of all, when you see somebody's energy, you also have to look through your own field. You see all of the energies in your own aura, even if they are kind of, I don't know, they're kind of like backdrop energies, or just you see through a film a bit. And what I have found is that sometimes somebody will see precisely what I'm seeing, but there are other times that people see different things. And I think part of it is because they are looking through their own aura, and also people see different things. It's like I know people who see much more geometrical shapes than colors, and um, or figure eights. A lot of people see that, but colors, if colors very often are close to similar, but it could be different because it's looking through through the veil of your own field.
Valerie Hunt, many years ago at UCLA, did research with clairvoyants and having them look at the chakras and seeing whether they finding out whether they saw similar things. And there was a lot of overlap in what they saw, but as Donna said, there's also a difference in the perceptual filters that each of us has. So some people see nothing, some people see in kind of a sea of color. Some people, it's much more geometric, and those are individual differences. The one thing about seeing color is that you're not really seeing color in this sense. That what's going on there is a vibration of energy. It's a vibration that our eyes have learned to recognize as a certain color, register as a certain color, but there's no color inherent in the energy. It's a vibration is what's inherent in the energy. And then our sensory system has evolved so that we do see vibrations that are in the electromagnetic light span as color. And what Donna sees, in addition, and other energy healers see, are in a different. They're not in that electromagnetic light wave area, but they still get registered as if they were.
Ha! I'm going to add one little thing to that. Um, Very often, even people who don't think that they see energy will every now and then see energy around a person's body, but they'll see it as light. And that is because light and energy, that light is energy and energy is light. So sometimes when you see it as light, you might see it go into a real color because you're seeing it. I mean, color is the light spectrum broken down. Okay, onward. Um, from Bonnie, how does one know if their aura needs to be expanded or brought in? How does one know if they have become homolateral? All right, Bonnie, you know, you actually already know this. If you're feeling, if you're feeling really alive and sociable and expanded, and you just your energy is really out there in the world, sometimes you want to come back into yourself. And if you want to come back into yourself, you want to, pull the energy in. However, if you find yourself locked into yourself and you can't be very sociable, or you can't enjoy the world outside of you very much, or you can't get incentive to be outside of yourself, then you need to go the other way. So experiment and really notice which one feels right to you, and it will be different perhaps at different times. Okay. And about homolateral, if you're depressed, I can tell you you're homolateral. If you just have no energy, you don't have any energy, you're homolateral. If you can't think, you just feel fuzzy and lost, you're homolateral. Um, it's a degree of difference between how much energy you have when you feel good and when you don't feel good. But if you feel clumsy or klutzy or you're starting to get sick, you're homolateral. Uh, there are other ways you can know, but they're all ways that your energy has become more deficient. That your energies have become more deficient. Okay, all right. Let's see. From Martina. I'm treating disabled children who cannot follow instructions. Is there another way to test them? The surrogate test. The surrogate test, I believe, is in your, yes, it is in your class. It's where if you can't test anybody, a child, a baby, anyone who's a pet, you can use another person and have that person put their hand on the person that can't be tested, and they will pick up the energy of that person. So then you test the person, the surrogate, the person who isn't actually the person, but the person who is touching that person.
So right now, if we want to know what was going on in me, we could have Donna touch me. Donna puts her hand out and somebody else tests Donna. And because of the way the energy travels, the test will stay strong if I'm strong. It will show weak if I'm weak. So you're not testing Donna in that case, you're testing the surrogate person.
Yes. So I always think of if you've ever seen a video or a film or a movie of somebody holding putting their hand on an electric fence, and then somebody comes along and touches them and they get it too, and that electricity goes through everybody. That's exactly what happens in a surrogate test. The energy went through the surrogate. Okay, next. From Linda, could you tell me if I'm doing the DER, radiant circuits, and tracing meridians every day, which should I be doing first, second, and third, or does it matter? Okay, the only one that I will be absolute about is that you want to do homolateral. Even if you're not sure, it doesn't take but a few seconds to cross your energies over the front of your body from the shoulder to the opposite hip. Just make sure that you're out of homolateral. It is normally, I want to say there are no absolutes about energy. Energy is simply not linear, but so it doesn't really matter, except if you're feeling really stressed out. If you do the daily energy routine first, all the energies will straighten out, and then what follows will work a lot better. So I guess that is my answer. I would do the daily energy routine first after homolateral. Okay?
Right. And then it makes sense to do your meridians and get them next into a good flow, so that when you get to radiant circuits, you're already as balanced as possible and can really move with those, really let those take you far, take you a distance.
Okay. Okay. From Elizabeth, what help can you suggest for people experiencing either poor sleep, waking, tossing, turning, and or waking up and not being able to get back to sleep? There's actually quite a few things, and it totally depends on what is happening with your energy. Like if your mind is being taken over by your troubles, or you're just your body is just got too much energy. But one of the things that an awful lot of people suggest and feel that really works for them is the connecting heaven and earth, which means I will just say it, and because I don't think you can see this, but the one where you put one hand up and look up and flatten the hand, and the other hand down, and then go the other side and do it a couple of times, and then bend over and come back up. What that does is it releases pent-up energy in your body. And when you release pent-up energy, your body lets go. That's one. Another one is the triple warmer smoothie, which is, laying your hands over your eyes and dragging them to your temples, then taking a deep breath in and drag your fingers above your ears. Let your breath out, go around behind your ears and hang on your shoulders. Now take a deep breath in. And as you let your breath out, come down to your heart chakra and just hold there. And for many people, they fall asleep just with their hands on their chest. But we would like to, David, say the
Well,
other truth.
there's insomnia has so many causes that energetically that there is no this is the best technique because it depends on what's best for you. And um, on our website, we have a lot of free information, learnenergymedicine.com, and on the website we have a Q&A area where we talk about insomnia, and in that area we have 14 different techniques that are geared towards different causes of insomnia. So what we suggest to people is that they start to do them and find which ones work for you, because you don't have to know what's causing it. If you just find the solution, that's what you need. And our little joke that we always get classes to laugh at, I don't know how it'll come out over the internet, but as we say, and the best one, the best way is to print them all out and start to read them, and that will usually put you to sleep.
Okay. Um, from Priyanka, how do I know whether there is an illness present in my energy field before it manifests into my body? I feel normal today, and then next day I have a cold or a fever. Can I do something to the illness within the energy so that it never manifests physically? Do you know what? That is precisely one of the main reasons for the daily energy routine and getting out of homolateral. Because doing in fact, all energy exercises, but especially the daily energy routine. If you do that, every day, and maybe if you've had a lot you're dealing with, or you've been out in the world with other people who are getting colds or the flu, do that more than once a day, and your body will be able to move toxins out of your body easier, and or toxins out of your field before it even comes into your body. So that's a very good thing. I've had people tell me also that the Celtic weave, doing the Celtic weave, just moves that energy out of the aura.
Right, and for a more kind of technical answer, there are ways to anticipate problems before they occur. So what Donna is talking about doesn't require you to assess your body's energies. These are just some of the common ways that you really keep your energies humming and healthy. But it's possible to test every one of the 14 meridians. It wasn't taught in the class, but there are 14 energy tests for the 14 meridians. And there's also, it was taught in the class, the energy test for the aura. So you can test, if it's just not something that people have the time to do or have the right person there to do the testing, but theoretically, I think it's really important to understand that you can determine which meridians, which chakras are out, and then what organ are they connected to, and that organ is vulnerable because it's not getting the energy that it needs, and you can prevent illness by strengthening that meridian, strengthening that chakra. And one of the reasons that that's really important to understand is that in some provinces of ancient China, the job of the physician was to keep your energies all flowing so that you wouldn't get sick. And if you did get sick, then the doctor had failed because then they hadn't kept your energies flowing, and you didn't have to pay the doctor when you got sick. You paid the doctor to keep you healthy. And it's a very, and then the doctor would have to work harder to get you healthy again. So it's a very different kind of a healthcare system than our HMOs and such. But it's interesting to know that the understanding of keeping the energies balanced and strong was given that much credence.
Okay, this is from Carrie. How do you know if what you are feeling energetically is good or needs some energy tool applied to it? For example, I feel a vibration type energy. Is that shifting energy and does it need any attention? So relax into it. Or a sharper pain that might need shifting. How do you know which is which? Huh. Well, first of all, I believe that you begin to resonate with what is going on with your energy systems the more you work in energy. It's just true. If I mean, basically, of course, you know when you feel good energetically, you know that. But if you feel something like a vibration and you wonder if it's energy moving, it could be. I mean, it is moving. It is moving absolutely. And if it doesn't bring pain your way, I wouldn't worry about it. But you could figure out which meridian it's on. You know, just look at the meridians and does that meridian run through where that vibration is? You could experiment a little bit and try sedating, because whenever you have too much energy and it isn't moving out easily, well, then you want to sedate. You want to sedate the acupressure points for that meridian. Okay.
Yeah. So before we open up to live questions, we want to talk a little bit about questions. We felt really gratified that you have given us more than 500 questions, 150 just for this presentation, and it concerns us because what that means is that it's not at all possible to answer all of your questions. It's just not within the framework. We'd be here all night for a few days to go through all 500 questions. So we want to tell you about some resources that are available. One thing we've noticed is that some of the more recent questions were already covered. And so we got the sense that perhaps the person asking the question had not listened to the first two Q&As. So you might want to go back and listen to those. But also, you can go back to the modules, and a lot of information is on there that can answer many of the questions that were asked. The biggest thing, however, is that we need to emphasize once more, as I did in the last Q&A, is that the difference between energy medicine and conventional medicine in terms of what you treat, what you aim for, is that in conventional medicine, you make a diagnosis of an illness, and then you treat the symptoms of that illness. In energy medicine, you are not starting with the actual illness. You're not starting with the symptoms. What you're starting is where it is that the energies are blocked, scrambled, or out of balance, or out of harmony. So that's where your focus is. And once you've assessed that, then you begin to get those energies back into harmony. And just the daily energy routine does a lot for that, but a lot of the other techniques that you've learned are also going to be relevant. But that's a big difference. So we're tending to select questions that are going to be teaching more about the energies and the energy systems and how to identify in your body what energy systems need attention and how to give them that attention. So we'll from that start to take up. I guess they'll be giving us a mix of live questions and also of questions that were asked, of those 150 that were already asked.
Okay, here's a question. If one's energy systems are strong and healthy, would that override the need to uncover root causes of traumas and phobias, etc.? In other words, if we focus on increasing the smooth flow of energy without the story, would it naturally take care of the story? Oh, let's see. That's not a simple black and white question. Even in, like, if you were to go on and study further with us, we teach how to uncover those stories and uncover the trauma and move the energy of the trauma out. That's a reality where somebody has been really traumatized badly. Yes, it always helps just to get the energy flowing right, but sometimes it's important to grasp what happened and so you can move the energy out in with deeper energy work. Um, did I answer that well?
Yeah, I think so. I think that people have been really traumatized. There's a lot going on. There's a lot of ways that it's necessary to understand the big picture of what's going on in their lives and in their bodies, but that the basic energy methods do work to do a deeper level healing. And so that you have that going for you. But sometimes you do indeed need to know what the trauma is and really approach it head on. And again, energy psychology is a variation of energy medicine that is particularly effective for working with PTSD and other psychological disorders.
From Chandra, I don't have anyone to energy test me, and energy testing myself doesn't work. Everything tests positive, even when I test for my name, the color I'm wearing, or a food that always makes me sick. How can I solve this problem? Well, Chandra, first of all, I feel for you. Um,
But good for you for really
yes,
testing it, for really
yes.
not for putting it to the test to be skeptical about it.
um, the thing is, energy testing is both an art and a science, I would say. So the art of it is to learn to be in tune with it and to learn all of the things that get in the way of energy testing yourself or being tested by somebody else. So um, I would, as some of the simple things that I would really encourage you to do is to just really take a deep breath in very deeply and release all thoughts and make and if you so that your body can just fall forward or fall backwards. Is there any other? I'm wondering if there's
Yeah,
a.
well, one of the things that Donna started when she needed to test herself and didn't have, she needed to do it frequently, so there wasn't always someone around that could test her. She didn't start with the pendulum test, and I'm assuming that's what you're using because the pendulum test is a lot more subtle and it's a lot easier to fool it. One way to take out one of the variables is that rather than doing that is to get a weight that you can put on your dresser and have your arm just straight ahead, and can you lift it or not lift it? So you want to get a differential, that is something that if you say your name, you can lift it, and if you say my name is something else, you can't lift it. Or you put something in your field that you know isn't good for you, you can't lift it. Put something that is good for you, and you can lift it. So you get that differential. Donna used to go to sporting goods stores and sit in the barbell department and figure out what's the exact right weight. But now there's a new technological innovation called the 5 gallon water jug, where you can, usually for most people, just 1 gallon is enough, where you can fill it the amount of water so you can really lift it up. You can do that for the general indicator test, or you can also do it for the spleen test. Put it at your side, hold the jug of water. Can I pull it out or not? So those are, I think that will take away one of the major variables, one of the major ways that the test becomes more subjective. But we also, all of the clues that we gave talking about testing another person also fit here. That Donna mentioned that the research that is part science. Well, the science part is really mixed. There are studies that show that really high percentage of consistency among testers, and then there's many other studies that don't show that. And we've given a lot of thought to why that is. And one of the things is that there are so many variables to control for, and the variables are not just obvious ones. The variables are in the person's mind. So if the person knows they're part of a research subject, that can interfere with their intuitive ability to even sense what is coming in, and it will affect the test. So so getting to a beginner's mind, or a mind of I'm I'm interested in the truth here, rather than I want that ice cream sundae, is going to give a much more accurate test. So I'd encourage you to keep experimenting with it. I think that
Yes.
it's great that you've started experimenting, and also, even if you live alone, you can still find someone to experiment with in energy testing with another person, so that, because that's really the best training wheels for learning how to do it on yourself. And so you meet a few times, to really spend an hour just experimenting with each other and really getting good at it with a partner, and that will kind of train your body to pick up on those nuances.
Okay, this is from Synthis. If I am doing a chakra clearing on myself, what is the difference between using my hands and using crystals? Is one better than the other? All right, that's a good question. I think they are totally different experiences. If you use your hand, I think it is a stronger training in really feeling the energy and starting to assess what your hand is picking up. Because if you go slow enough, you will feel, I'm doing it right over my heart chakra now. I mean, I can feel the buzzing. I can feel that vibration. I can feel a pushing on my fingers. All of that. If you hold a crystal, it does something different. And for some people, they like doing a crystal sometimes and their hand at other times. A crystal has its own vibration. And because you have really a crystalline energy field, that crystal will also resonate with your energies. And for a lot of people, it just depends on what they are going through. They want one thing one time and the hand the other time. All right, from Marianne. How do you know whether to flush a meridian or trace it? Okay, well, um, it's always good to trace any meridian. However, there are times that, like, if nobody has energy tested you about it, and you're thinking that, well, I'll just give an example. Say you've got a stomach ache, or you've got some indigestion, then you would want to flush it. I often would, I still do, I often flush spleen meridian because spleen meridian is my strongest vulnerability. And for most people, it is their vulnerability. So, so if I flush it, which means to go backwards once on it and then forward 3 times, it's like backwashing pipes. It's like you help energy flush out that was stuck and then bring fresh new energy in. So I think you might get more of a response in your body if you flush it. However, if you just trace it, I would say make sure you use your whole hand and go very, very slow. You might really like that. And the more your own body begins to give you that feedback of what it is resonating with, the more you'll know yourself. Okay? Um, been doing homolateral patterning with DER diligently for 3 months, sometimes twice a day, and feeling depressed and falling apart a lot. Thoughts? Yes, I do have thoughts on that. And I am really sorry that's been happening to you. But I have seen it happen periodically when somebody, you know, triple warmer is that amazing energy. It's not just a meridian, it is also a radiant circuit that will, its job is to hold on to what you have learned, hold on to old patterns, because that was what was required in evolution. We really needed not to have to think twice about how to be or feel or think or anything. So our body still holds on to patterns. So periodically I'll see somebody like this that it is so hard to have homolateral switch over so that you're not homolateral anymore. But I can promise you, at least I've never seen it different, that eventually it will kick in. One of our best teachers, top teachers, it took her 6 months before it switched over. But her life changed. Her life radically changed, and she got self-confidence. She got everything kicked in then. So if you have old bad habits in your body or in your psyche, it's going to take longer. Now, and I would make sure that I would not be just crossing over from your shoulders to your hips, but doing the homolateral retraining with the arms and the legs, picking up on the same side of the body, hitting the knee with your right hand, right knee with your right hand, left knee with your left hand. Do that 10 or 12 times, then cross over, hit your left knee with your right hand and your right knee with your left hand, and do that 12 or 14 times, and then go back and forth and repeat that. Because usually when it's really entrenched deeply, you need to do this more
Well,
serious.
but there's also another answer, which is that there may be a lot going on for you that is that is larger than what simply doing the crossover and the daily routine can get to. And we don't know you, we don't know what kind of support you have, but we'd really encourage you to if you're like 3 months, you've been depressed and falling apart, and the chances are that what you're doing is actually helping a little, scary as that might sound, but it's not enough. And so, as Don was saying, keep the faith, keep doing it, but also look for other resources that are going to help you with the depression and help you with the instability that you're feeling in your life, because your life force is too valuable to be going for 3 months without getting some real help for it. So really, really, take good care of yourself in that way.
Yes. And sometimes if you have somebody in your life who can do the techniques on you, you can lay there and relax. I've had a couple of people tell me that they found that that's what worked because, like, I'm going to back up and say, when I had my practice and somebody came in who was extremely homolateral, and I didn't want them to do it, but I would lay them on my table and literally pick up the arms and the legs myself and do that for them so that their body can be limp. And when their body was limp, triple warmer did not feel like there was anything to fight. And that's what would kick it in.
Right. So from an energy medicine perspective, after 3 months without and still having the depression and knowing that homolateral is so connected with depression, that would be a time where you might consult with a practitioner who's able to really do an assessment of what's going on. Is it triple warmer has locked in? So that would be the energy medicine perspective. Other perspective is that would be a time to see a psychotherapist. Part of what successful psychotherapy does, even though the therapist isn't thinking at all in terms of homolateral, is that as the therapy begins to get the person's energies moving, those energies do start to cross over. So the therapist doesn't have to understand homolateral in order to be effective. The therapist just needs to be effective.
You may be wondering, but David is a psychologist, and he does energy psychology, which is really, really great. Okay, I think the name is Marty. I can't quite see your name, but is it necessary to clear the chakras, etc., on an empty stomach? Does it matter if you just ate? people are different. We are all so different. Some people don't like to have eaten first because they say it's like, you start stirring the pot of the food you've just eaten, and especially when you go counterclockwise, it can feel a little bit unsettling. But then when you go clockwise, you're okay. I personally like to have eaten if somebody's going to work on me, because my issues are more things like I don't want my blood sugar to drop. And so if my blood sugar is really going, which means also spleen meridian is really flowing, it I can get to the finish line even faster. Okay?
So it's really a matter of individual differences in preference. There's
Yes.
no real rule, but for the most part, you're going to get good results either way.
Yes, that's right. Caitlin, is there a more detailed muscle meridian chart? Last session, you said that knee pain can be helped by sedating small intestine. I'm not sure I would have thought to try that by looking at the chart provided. Aha. Let's see. Um, should we mention the book? And
I don't think that we have a more detailed
let
muscle
me
meridian
explain.
chart.
Let me explain.
I think the one that they have is the one
Is
that is
it?
in the book.
Is it? Huh. Well, small intestine meridian governs the muscle that starts right at your thighs, and it cups the knee. It cups the knee. So very, very often, sedating small intestine works. I hope that helped. Okay.
Right. So we the chart that's in our book, in Donna's book, Energy Medicine, is a different chart, but it's the one that's in your handouts is actually an improved version of it. So we just don't have something that's more detailed. But you should be able to get the information from that chart. And Donna just explained the specific question that you're answering.
Yeah. From Sue Lai, when you live alone and no one to do spinal flush for you, how can we do it ourselves? Any alternative techniques? Well, I'll tell you what I know other people to do. I know people will, what is that called?
Yeah, it's like a hook with something like a tennis ball on the back, so that you can actually
much smaller,
down,
yeah.
much smaller, but you can actually go
pull
down.
it forward, and when you pull forward, it'll pull on your back so that you can go down each point on your back. You can get it in a lot of, if you have a Chinese area in your town, their stores will often sell them.
Their health stores.
And also, I've had people tell me that they will get up next to a corner of one of their walls in their house and just put their back next to it and really push, so they get a sense of everything all of those points being pushed on the spinal flush.
Now, this is probably not appropriate, but one of the things I love for this is that there is a massager which is got if you can imagine a little pocket here that has the massager in it, and then has handles so that you can put it on your back, yeah, and pull in and turn it on, and then you can move up and down your spine and get an incredible spinal flush. And I'm not sure how you can find them. We bought ours at Brookstone, but they're always changing their inventory, so I don't know if they still have it. But that that's kind of combines modern technology with the ancient spinal flush system, and it's wonderful.
Kimberlyn, I didn't know it before learning about energy medicine, but I have always seen energy when I close my eyes. How then do I begin to understand what all of that energy that I see means? Oh, Kimberlyn, I have sympathy. Growing up with seeing energy, I had 30 years to make sense of it. you just learn it over time, like learning a language. Um, you can, when you say you see energy, I'm assuming you see color, or you see, I'm not sure what you're seeing, but there are many ways. I'd even like to, can I mention Tanya?
Yeah.
Okay, my daughter, Titania Dolan, and her website is,
Well, if you go to our website, learnenergymedicine.com, and just scroll to the bottom, there's a link to her website.
yes, again, her name is Titania Dolan, Dahlin. She has, as will happen to a lot of people when they work in energy medicine, their senses become more primed. They open up. They open up to things that what they weren't attuned to before. And what happened to Tanya is just about 6 years ago, she began to hear energy. How's that? She can hear it. And she has really tested herself against me. Since I see it and I feel it, she hears it. And she has actually made a business now of people get readings, color readings with her. But she has an amazing understanding of color and what they all mean. And but you can go to her website and maybe get some
Yeah,
information
but
on that.
that's a little different. Those are light colors that she's reading, which is
Yes,
a very interesting area, but it's a little different than what you're asking. Um, because when you close your eyes and you see colors or you see movement, there's a bunch of things that could be
yes,
related to. It could be related to, your eyes processing light, and it could be seeing, having a visual representation of how the energies are moving in your body. It could be a visual representation of the energies in the room. So we really don't have an easy, clear-cut answer. But what Don was saying about learning the language, just continuing to attend to it
yes,
and pay attention to, okay, what changes, what's going on out there when I'm seeing these colors, what's going on inside of me when I'm seeing the colors, so that you're making a correlation between what you're seeing and what's going on inside you or beyond you.
And here's another thing. That was good, David. Here's another thing, is that of the people I have known that have begun to see energy, it often begins behind their eyes. They're seeing it behind their eyes. And if they work with energy a lot, it often comes then out in front. And then it actually becomes a bit of a passion to start finding out what it all means. So that just may happen to you. Okay. If your liver is burdened by taking too many supplements, do we strengthen the liver meridian, or do we sedate them? What is the difference? You sedate. You sedate. When you've had too many supplements, I mean, I don't know. That's an awful one. Even if it's just in that day you took too many supplements. I mean, it can make you feel nauseated and not good. Sedate liver meridian. It'll make you feel better. It'll process things quicker, and and you'll be very glad you did it. But do not strengthen the liver, because then the liver doesn't have a way to relax and let things go and process them faster. Okay?
Right? Because when the liver's over processing, overworking, sedating is helping it to relax, helping it to find
Yes.
balance.
Yes. From Jamie. I'm wondering if you have used energy medicine with children, people with autism, with positive results? Do you have an energy theory or understanding of what causes autism in people? Yes, I have worked with people who have autism, and what I've found is uh, uh, interesting, the figure eight, the simpler things that they're, because they want to move their whole body into the feeling the energy, being in that energy. I've but actually the entire daily energy routine is very good. And yes, I've had positive results. Do you have an energy theory or understanding?
Well, but it's not, positive results doesn't mean that she's cured autism with energy. techniques, because that's not what
Okay.
we're talking about. What we're talking about, helping the person be healthier, happier, able to cope better. There are certain conditions that um, are not likely to change. Like autism, like dementia, um, like um, psychosis. Um, those are so deeply embedded in the biochemistry that you're not really able, with the energy techniques that we have available, to usually change them. Now, sometimes there are miracles, and those are harder to explain. But it's in terms of what you can reliably expect. What you can reliably expect is that you're going to be able to help the person cope more effectively, be happier, feel better, be healthier. So that's the payoff.
Okay. From Teo, I noticed that neither of you used glasses. What do you do to strengthen your vision? Well, I don't use them as much as I used to, although it's getting time that I start working on my eyes again. But from the time I was 16 to 36, I wore glasses I was nearsighted, and I wore glasses for seeing at any distance. And and then at 36, I started using energy techniques on myself, and I didn't have to wear glasses anymore. Um, and now my eyes are perfect nearsighted. They're getting a little farsighted now, so it's time to start working on them a little bit. But kidney meridian and liver meridian are very important to the eyes. Um, so something as simple as sedating and strengthening both, to hold the sedating points and then the strengthening points, is very, very good. To K27 is very important for the eyes. If you're going to do eye exercises, make sure you have massaged K27 really well, because it sends the energy up to the eyes so that any kind of eye exercises will work better. Um, the simple things of working around the eyes, pushing your thumbs into the bones all the way around the eyes, is very, very good, just to open up the flow of energy to the eyes. Um, I, I, shall I show? Shall I share? One, if you use your eyes to read or on the computer a lot, a very good thing to do is to lay your fingers sideways and then tap the length of your eye. Your eyelid is shut. You lay the finger sideways and tap back and forth. It's really, really good for your eyes. And one last one sounds funny, but take your with your eyelids shut, kind of pinch your eyelids out from your eyes a little bit. Do those before any other eye exercises, and it's really good. Liver and kidney. Okay, from Raphael, I want to know if there is a technique to help with allergies. Oh my, yes, although it's not simple. I used to be very, very allergic. Just when I was younger, I was allergic to almost anything that grew out of the ground. It's like, um, you want to fix that camera a little bit, center it. um, I was allergic to almost anything that grew out of the ground. And I mean that, organic things that didn't matter. My body could not break it down, uh, could not metabolize food. So I had to figure it out, and because I knew that it was just making me sicker when I had a lot of ailments. So it was a lot of experimentation, but basically, on a basic level, I mean, you want all your energies flowing well, but you want triple warmer to be sedated. Sedate triple warmer and strengthen spleen. I mean, that's at the baseline, because there is more to do. But at the baseline, sedate triple warmer and strengthen spleen. You may need to have the offending whatever object in your field. In fact, that's very important. Is um, don't eat it, but put it in your field and then do the daily energy routine with it in your field and things like that. You want to get your energies comfortable and really relating well to whatever has been bothering you.
Yeah, so there are definitely techniques, but they are sophisticated, and you may need to consult a practitioner to really do this correctly. But it's kind of like an energy vaccine where you are putting the vibration of the offending substance into your field. We're going to now shift. We've been going for an hour, and we have another half hour to go. And we were asked to open this up to questions about our Foundations program. The Foundations program is a next step from this course. And so we're going to tell you a little bit about it, and we're going to then be open to questions, etc. So here's a question from Virginia.
It's a comment.
A comment.
Virginia, thank you. I just read this quickly. I am looking forward to further studying with you and your teachers. You are both such wonderful people. I see and feel your goodness. Thank you for sharing your gifts. You are so welcome. It's really our mission in life. You know, we say that we want to help lift the vibration of the planet, you know, one person at a time. And I think that if people were empowered to heal themselves, this world will be a much better place. We will take care of each other and ourselves, and it will just be better.
Yes. So the Foundations program, one of the big challenges that we had about 15 years ago was we had written the book, Donna's book, Energy Medicine, and it kind of hit a nerve. It was very popular, and we were getting all kinds of invitations to teach all over the world. And we gave up our private practices and went off in a Honda van and the bunch of books in the back, and started teaching. And this was almost 20 years ago. And about 15 years ago, people really started wanting to study in a more systematic way. And at that point, we had first been teaching weekend courses, and we expanded it to a 5-day course, which is the same basic content that you just experienced in this course, in the Mind Valley course. And then people were wanting more advanced training, and we were doing more advanced courses, and then they were wanting a certification program. And we'd never thought that through about, could we do a certification program? Because if we did a certification program, Donna could not possibly be the only teacher. We needed to really have other people teach it. So we did an experiment where we had a group of 4 of the people that had really studied with us quite a bit, and we put on a workshop where they were the teachers and Donna wasn't even there. And it was done in Chicago, and there was, I think, about 100 people came to it, and they got rave reviews. I mean, they got the kind of reviews that Donna gets. It was really very affirming that because one of the questions, because Donna's very charismatic, is it Donna's charisma or is it the method that really matters? And what we have found now, really established, is that the method itself carries Donna's work. The method carries Eden Energy Medicine without Donna having to be part of it. So from that, we began to form a certification program, and we opened it about 12 years ago, and it's been enormously successful. People love it, and they get so much. It's kind of assumes the basic information that you've already had. It will review a lot of it, but it really builds on it, and it's formed now, and we've now graduated 10 classes. In those 10 classes, there have been 1,248 people that have graduated, and they are now Eden Energy Medicine certified practitioners. So the first year, it's a 2-year program to get to the point where you can open a practice and practice in Donna's name. And the first year is called the foundations year. And it's not necessary to plan to take more than that because that in itself is a complete course, just as what you've just completed is a complete course. For some of you, that's as much as you want. But for many of you will want more because it's just such rich, juicy material that affects your life, affects the lives of the people you care about. If you're in the healthcare profession or if you're looking for a new profession, it's so gratifying to be able to help people more effectively sometimes than other resources that are available to them. So that's
or to raise your children on energy medicine so that you do not have to rely so much on pharmaceutical medicines.
yes. So the way that the program is structured right now is that we have about 50 faculty all over the world, mostly in the United States and the UK and Canada, um, but also different parts of Europe. And they are offering this foundations class, and the foundations class is taught in this way. It's a year-long program, and you come, it's usually, there's probably one near you, particularly if you're in one of those countries, and you come for 4 days of intensive training. And in that intensive training, you learn a lot of concepts, a lot of techniques. You see a lot of work where the teacher is working with someone on the stage, as you saw in this class. And but there's a very strict curriculum, a very specific curriculum. And at the end of those 4 days, you have just been bombarded with so much information. People love it. It's just rich and juicy, but also a lot. And then you have 3 months to integrate all of that. And we have a program that you do at home where you are practicing on people, you're getting Skype supervision, you're taking open book tests to make sure that you've mastered the concepts. The Skype supervision helps you be sure you've mastered the techniques. So at the end of those 3 months, you have literally mastered the material in those 4 intense days, and you're ready now for the next 4 intense days. And so that's the way the program runs. So it's designed, as you can see, to keep your day job and be able to take this because the 4 days include a weekend, and then you can do all the other work at whatever hours works for you. So that's so you do 4 weekends like that, 4 4-day weekends like that, followed by the practice and supervision, and we call it mentoring. And then you have completed year one, the foundations year, and that's your next step here. Then after that would be a second year, which right now is taught in a couple of places. It's taught in Phoenix, Arizona, and it's taught right outside of London. And that program is on the same basis of 4 days, 3 months to integrate, 4 days, etc. So that's the basic way that the class is set up, and we have just been overwhelmed with the enthusiasm and the competency that people are getting from going through this program. It's unlike the class you've been through is great, but it's not hands-on. There's no, it's like not person to person. In the foundations program, you're there with the teacher. You're having somebody watch you as you work. You're working on one another. You're working on in pairs a lot. So you get a lot. It's just a rich training. And you want to say a little bit about it, and also feel free to ask questions, and we'll be happy to answer any questions you have
Yes.
about it.
Well, I just love the program. I did not feel equipped to teach a certification program in the beginning because I didn't know how we'd do that. But it has worked. It has really worked. And I mean, we are so gratified hearing how people have used it, how they've helped themselves, helped others, have practices. Yeah, a lot of people have started careers off of this. So it is very gratifying, and it's also something wonderful about, like, if you come the first year, you'll have one or two teachers and maybe an assistant. But if you come to year two, you'll have a lot of teachers, and you'll see how different teachers teach, and you might resonate with one style of teaching more than another. So it's, I don't know, it's the best program. I've had people tell me that it is the best certification program of an energy healing system.
Yeah, well, many people talk about how it's changed their lives. I
Yes.
mean, you become part of a community of healers that
Yes.
are very, very advanced souls. So it's really, we're very happy about it. And what Donna just said about the larger group, what happens is that in the foundations year, it's local and they're small groups. You know, there might be a dozen people in your group, or maybe less, or maybe a few more. But then in year two, all the foundations graduates come together. So there's more than 100 people in that class, and therefore many more teachers. But the way we do it is that to keep the intimacy, they stay in groups of a dozen or less, about a dozen people, and there's a teacher for each of those groups. So half your time is in those small groups, really practicing, dealing with the content that was being presented from the stage to the big group. So that's the way that works. And we really welcome your questions. So here's one question: is that do people in the healing professions come into the certification program? And interestingly, almost half of the people are professionals. They're nurses, they're physicians. Each year we get about 2 or 3 physicians in the year two, and which are really gratified by that because they're on the front lines and they're really the model. But then the other half of the class is new to energy healing as a profession. So that's really a very interesting mix, and we've really had to find a way to find the level that really addresses both groups, and we felt pretty successful at finding that middle ground so that the professionals really feel that they're being fed, and they immediately are integrating energy medicine into their practices. By the way,
Yes.
they take the first 4-day course and they find that they're experimenting with their patients, and it's really geared for people to work on themselves and their families, but if they happen to be professionals, they can start right in. So here's a question.
From Lena, can it be possible to take the foundation program online?
That's a great question. We wish it were, but it's not. And the reason it's not is because it's hands-on practice. So much of it is you're working on another person right there while the teacher is watching. And there's just not a way that we know to do that online. So unfortunately, no.
From John, how does the life of a teacher look like? Can you share with us an example?
Okay, so let's start with the life of a practitioner.
Okay.
And because people that go through the program, they first become practitioners, and it depends on a great deal to what you want. Many of the people that come through the program, as I said, are already professionals. They already have a practice, or they're already working in a hospital or another institution. So their life doesn't look that different after the program. They go on to bring energy medicine into their work, so they become more effective and have more fun, but they're still in the same basic setting. But if they are wanting to open a practice, then they have a really interesting road ahead of them, because starting a private practice is never an easy thing to do in a community. But what they'll often do is that they will offer short little classes, and those classes, like they might speak to the Rotary Club, they might speak at the library, they might get invited to speak to a different one group or another, and from those classes they will then people will start to want to see them privately, and they'll begin to build a practice over time. And they have to know the laws of their state. There's ways to language things to stay within the laws so that you're not accused of practicing medicine without a license. But all of our practitioners have figured out how to do that, and so there's a lot of support for doing that. And then other people are not interested in a practice or applying it in their healing setting, but they're really doing it for themselves and their family. And we feel that's absolutely valid and a great way to go. And then other people, interestingly, more and more, in fact, are applying it in businesses and in
Yes.
other settings, in sports settings. One of our graduates at a major company started teaching the daily energy routine, and then was doing it every day at lunch. So everybody would meet at lunch, and they'd all do the daily energy routine to kind of perk them up for the afternoon. So there's a and then we have people that are actually working as consultants to businesses to teach the leaders in the businesses how to help their employees really be at their best so that their energies are really flowing, and so the energies are flowing within the organization. So there's a lot of applications, and it's a new field. Like any new field, there's a risk to get into it. There's no state right now in the U.S. There's 50 states. None of them is certifying or licensing people in energy medicine. States just haven't recognized it yet. So it's a brand new field as far as the legislatures are concerned, and that's an exciting thing. And it means that we're able to shape it in many ways. Here's a question that I don't know the answer to.
I might know.
Is there one of the certification program foundation classes in Australia? I know there
Well,
was.
right now, a foundation class is finishing up, and I believe they're going to try to figure out within the next couple of years there will be a few more teachers in Australia who want to teach foundation in Australia. But from what I understand, there is somebody who went and taught it this last year who lives in England who went to Australia 4 times a year just to teach it. And one of our other teachers in the United States went and taught a foundations class there. So look on our website and look and see what's available in Australia. Okay, it'll get more and more so, by the way.
Right, yes. And the classes always start in April, May, or June. So you're right at the start of it. And you'll get information. It's on our website, but you'll also get information from Mind Valley telling you about it.
From Marianne, why are the foundation courses so expensive, especially for us Canadians? Yet I also appreciate all the knowledge you have given us.
Yes, they're expensive for a number of reasons. One of which is that we keep a very good student to faculty ratio, so that there is so that you're not part of a big group and just kind of left there. There's a personal relationship between you and and your teacher. And the best thing I can say for why is it so expensive is that it has lost money every year for the last 3 years, and we're we're really committed to service, and we're needing to figure out how to at least break even. But we have not been raising the prices. It would make sense to raise the prices, but we know that the prices that are there, which are inexpensive compared to comparable programs, by the way. We've looked at the competition in terms of other people offering real intensive hands-on certification programs, and we're actually a bargain in that way, and particularly for what we offer and how much material and the quality of the material. But so it is as inexpensive as we can possibly make it, and our heart really goes out to those
Canadians.
Well, to the
I mean,
Canadians
anybody, yes,
because of the exchange rate, but also
for everybody, really.
and it's a burden to come up with that kind of money, and we understand it, and we're
What,
really doing our best to meet
yes,
you.
and one of the things that we do, and we can't reach everybody with this, but we have a scholarship program,
Right, but that's for year two.
for year two. For
Yeah.
year two, there's a scholarship program,
And we raise as much money as we can on that, but it's still just a handful. Like there's probably 5 or 6 times as many people apply for it as we're able to give. So, but we put a lot of effort into raising money for the scholarship fund. We do our best to keep the cost to you down, and there's just no better answer.
okay, this is from Susan. Do you, Donna and David, still run foundational courses yourselves that are available? We don't, but we do teach. I mean, we teach all the time, but it's, we feel that sort of our job is to reach out to people who don't know about energy medicine yet and sort of turn people on so that then they can go to a foundational course. And
So we're teaching more
yeah,
basic introductory courses, and often it's just going to Cleveland or Miami for an evening to teach a course, because we really want people to understand that it's possible to work with the energies in their bodies in ways that make them feel better, be healthier,
yes.
think better.
And it's a joy to teach that to people who don't know. I'd also say that, gosh, no, and
for
sometimes
you,
they're advanced classes. We do teach
yeah,
advanced classes.
we kind of teach on both ends. We teach the beginning class, and we teach the real advanced classes. And we do come to year two whenever we can.
Yes, we do. And sometimes every one of them in that year, and sometimes only half. Do you think you'll ever have more places in the United States besides Arizona where the second year is taught?
Yeah, stay tuned, Carla. That's very likely, but it probably won't be for another couple of years that we're really able to expand in that way.
But that's what we're wanting, so that more people can come. Okay? All right. Philippa, or Philippa, what do you suggest for further education if we are unable to complete a foundation program?
Well, we have a lot of online courses. I should have answered this actually when the person asked if Foundations is available, because Foundations is not available as an online course. But what are available is a course on the chakras, which will take you deeper than what you had in this class. In this class, you had an evening on it. This course is based on a 4-day program. We have a course on the radiant circuits that's available online. We have we're just about to teach a really exciting class in Cancun, Mexico, on how the 9 energy systems interact, and that course will be live streamed, and Mind Valley will tell you a little bit about that. We also have a couple of openings for the live course. It's a great way to experience Donna really up close and personal, because we have we're limiting it to a very small number of people to take the live course, and then it's being streamed. And where do you find the pricing? On our website for this class? If you go to learnenergymedicine.com, and then you'll see classes, and there's a tab for classes, and under classes there's a lot of different, the foundation classes are there, the certification program is there, but also individual classes. And so learnenergymedicine.com, find the classes tab, and you'll find the information about these classes.
Well, I'll just say, you never, this is a good thing. It may sound a little, oh no, but this is a good thing. You never really get to the end of what you can know about energy, because the truth is, energy is all there is. Even we aren't solid. We are force fields of energy fields, and so it's a joy to continue to learn, and that goes for me too. I continue to learn on these this class that we're going to be teaching in 3 or 4 weeks in Cancun on the 9 energy systems. Um, I was just trying to pull it together in my consciousness today about how was I going to teach this, and more things just kept coming to me about, oh, that and that. You know, you just get excited about it, and so it's really wonderful to learn and learn and learn.
Yeah. One of the things that why it never ends is that when you think of the body's anatomy, and you have all these cells and all these cells forming organs, and then you have all the different systems, the cardiovascular system, you have the respiratory system, you have the immune system, all these systems. Every one of those cells, every one of those organs, every one of those systems is governed by energies. And so there are not only 9 energy systems, there are many more. 9 are the ones that Donna has really identified as the ones that are most relevant to work with. And
I just want to say, but today I really got, well, I'm going to have to throw in, you know, these other energy systems into that class too.
Right.
So because there are more than 9.
Yeah, I mean, that always happens whenever Donna teaches. That she's going to more than the 9. But the 9, if you really master those 9, you can really do a very effective energy medicine practice. So what I want to say about the Foundations class is how proud we are of it, how proud we are of our teachers.
Yes.
They have really gone the extra mile to learn this deeply. One of the earlier questions asked about the life of a teacher, and we talked about the life of a practitioner. When people have finished the certification program, then they can take additional training in how to teach Eden energy medicine, because practicing it, working on a body, is different from teaching it to a crowd, teaching it to a group. And all of the Foundations teachers have gone through that training, and some of them have been teaching with us for a dozen years. So there's really a lot going on that we're in those foundation classes, and we get such good feedback from people, such appreciative feedback. So if you're at all considering it, please do look into it.
Yeah.
And there's a few more comments here.
It'll change your life. Okay, this is from Louise. Oceans of gratitude to you both for this amazing course. You're both such shining lights on this planet. Love, love, love. Thank you. And love, love, love back to you. Yana, thank you, Donna and David, from the bottom of my heart for introducing me to the world of energy medicine. I absolutely love this course and having you as teachers. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Yana.
Yeah. From Suzanne Forster, I would like to say a huge thank you for this beautiful work and your beautiful presence. I am filled with gratitude for Donna and David, to Tanya and the whole team. It hasn't been easy at times, but the light at the end of the tunnel is shining bright, and I am well on my way to recovery. Blessings.
Wonderful.
Yay.
Yes,
and I just want to say, I want to throw in something when you say it hasn't always been easy, but you're seeing the light at the end of the tunnel. I think if you start out and you're sick or you have a lot of problems and then you heal yourself with energy medicine, you have something to teach other people. You're often just a natural healer after that, or a practitioner, because you've learned what you need to teach. So
so it's been a delight to be part of this class. We've been so proud of Mind Valley and how they have really organized it so beautifully, and figured out how to help us chunk it down into pieces the way that they have, and then to give us the opportunity to have these 3 Q&A sessions with you. There's been I think more than 3,500 people took the course, and we're really pleased to get the word out to all of you. And there's been obviously a lot of interest in the questions. So thank you so much for having gone the distance with us. And,
thank you so much. And thank you, Mind Valley. Thank you so much. This has been a wonderful vehicle to do this on.
And all of those of you that are listening to us right now, we hope that our lives will in some way intersect in the future. We hope to see you in one of our classes, or or in the foundations, or in Cancun, or in
Yes.
any of the ways that we might meet you.
Yes. Blessings. Blessings.
Yes.
Bye
Goodbye.
bye.